Chris Sewall here, host of Collector Investor Podcast, in that order, the podcast where we talk about all things sports cards and everything related to the sports card hobby.
Need to bring more energy, bro. This is really just two friends talking about the hobby we love.
Fine. We talked about this, but all right. Chris Sewall here, Collector Investor Podcast host. I am your fantastic host. This guy's also here, Jeremy Donson. Chris Sewall and Jeremy Donson, in that order.
I think we need to work on that order, bro. I think it should be
Right.
Snowman, Texas Snowman, and then Chris.
I think the order's fine. What's going on, everybody? Collector Investor Podcast featuring Sewall and Snowman, or Snowman and Sewall, depending on who you ask. I'm Chris Sewall, and is that am I putting it right? That's Jeremy Donson over there. What's going on, Texas Snowman?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Very, very good. So we joke that we both want to have our name first. Like, I want Sewall and Snowman, and he wants it to be Snowman and Sewall. But we actually don't care. But we were discussing like which one sounds smoother off the tongue, Sewall and Snowman or Snowman and Sewall.
Yeah, we talked about it for like 15 minutes, just practicing saying it.
Yeah, never got an answer. So if anyone has an opinion, if any viewer has an opinion, which sounds better, Sewall and Snowman or Sewall, Snowman and Sewall, you can put it in the comments which you think sounds better.
That sounds good.
How's it going, man? What's up?
Dude, it's good. We just finished up DCS show, Dallas Card Show.
Tell me.
Oh, it was pure insanity, man. I think it was the busiest show ever for DCS, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, so I got there. I usually get there right when it starts at 9 on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
I got there late this time, so I had to. The parking garage was overflowed, so I had to go across the street to the other parking garage, which I had never had to do ever in 3 years of doing DCS, and that one was almost overflowed. I had to go almost to the very top, like roof, to park. It was insane. And apparently it did overflow, and people had to park like, a couple blocks away to walk over to the show. It was pretty crazy. But anyways, it was an awesome show, man. Tons of people, tons of great stuff.
Cool. I hadn't heard that. So it's to you, it was like the top one ever. That's or on par with.
I mean, as far as like, not necessarily as far as like results of a show, but as far as turnout, I think it was the busiest one ever. Yeah.
Like, it was just jam packed every day.
Just packed. Now Thursday was like, fairly slow, I guess, but overall, yeah, it was pretty packed. I mean, Saturday was packed. Sunday had a ton of people. It was a busy show. Yeah.
When's this boom going to slow down?
Is it? Is it going to slow down? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
No, it was a good show, man. It was just a very busy, very awesome show. Tons of great stuff. See a kid come up with $100,000 in their case, and that's awesome. Yeah. I'm like, I wish I was as cool as you when I was a kid.
That's the hobby. That's the hobby these days.
Absolutely, yeah. What about you, man? What'd you do this week?
I had a chill weekend at my mom sold her my childhood house, so I'm helping her move. So not a lot of.
Was that emotional?
Yeah, it's a little emotional. Yeah, I was literally born in that house. So yeah, it's but I was helping her move, so not a lot of card activity this weekend for me.
Yeah, gotcha, man. I mean, that's congratulations, I guess. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's time. It's time for her to sell. Like the house it's too big for her now. But right. Yeah, it's more like it's a little sad, but it's time. So.
Cool. And she stayed local to you. Yeah.
She's staying local. Yeah. She got an apartment with, yeah. So.
Sweet.
Good. Yeah, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the things we're going to talk about today, I'm supposed to sort of prep that. Talk a little bit about news. There wasn't a lot of news. We also got a couple segments we want to introduce, including something we're going to call, is it the debate of the day?
Debate of the week.
Debate of the week. Okay. Debate of the day is kind of like the alliteration. Let's go with debate of the day. DD.
Debate of the day, and then there's question of the day.
Question of the day.
Going to be viewer questions from the last podcast that we answer.
Yeah. Correct. And so the debate of the day. So one problem Jeremy and I know about this podcast going in is that we agree on most things. We generally are very much on the same page with opinions. That's a problem for a podcast. You want to create a little bit of back and forth, or a little bit of controversy. So what we decided to do, not controversy, but a little bit of friction. So what we decided to do is come up with a topic, and we're going to basically have a debate club over it. We're each going to be assigned one side of the debate, and then we're going to debate it, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's
kind of forcing ourselves to disagree.
Yeah, we're forcing ourselves to disagree for the
sake. But the fun thing is we don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. Our leader, our fearless leader Theo, has put together the debate, and he's going to manage the coin toss to decide who gets each side of the debate.
Executive producer
or fearless leader, either one. And then we'll finish with some questions from you guys, as you left a lot of great questions in our first first podcast. Quick interesting thing. Mike Junkwax here texted me. He thinks he was the very first subscriber to our podcast. He thinks he was the #1 subscriber, which is kind of cool.
I can't definitively say that, Mike. Yeah. I can say that I looked at the comments very quickly after it launched, and he was among the first that I saw. He was definitely like first 8, I think, for sure.
Okay.
Is there a way to check? Who is?
I don't know. I'm probably, but I'm not sure. We should ask the.
Maybe we should have some kind of like trivia for the 3 candidates that were first, and have them duke it out with card knowledge, and may the winner be the first. I don't know.
Yeah, and what was really cool is, as you remember in the last podcast, we promised the very first subscriber a prize, and so that's going to Mike. I'm going to pull it out of a hat here. What he's going to get, and he is going to get the most expensive card in Jeremy Donson's personal collection. Oh wow, that's very generous of you, Jeremy. Mike, feel free to reach out to Jeremy, and
I got you.
All right, that's obvious. But all right, how is the? Tell me, what do you know about the news? The biggest news of the week, as far as I understand, is PSA sort of coming out and announcing they're going to boost up SGC and boost up Beckett, which sort of reinvent them, or pump some new ideas into them, which is sort of against what they've been doing the previous year, at least with SGC anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because now I can't definitively say this, but I heard that they raised the raw card review to like $60 or something insane, like super high. I don't know how true that is. I don't ever use raw card review ever, but somebody was saying that they raised it significantly for the cost of raw card review. Let me know in the comments if that is accurate. But anyways, if assuming that is true, then I mean, who's going to do that, right? Like, so either A, they really aren't wanting to build up Beckett, or B, I just assume they don't want to do raw card review anymore. But if you do, then you're going to pay through the gills for it, and they're happy to take your money, I guess. I don't know. I would lean towards they don't want to do raw card review anymore.
I don't know. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. What I did hear, and I don't know if you can verify this, but I heard that the Beckett booth was slammed at Dallas Card Show.
Yes, I heard that from more than one person. It was very busy.
Okay, how close were you to or maybe you're not?
Oh, I was far away. So we have 2 tables. We have one in the main hall right when you enter, and we have one in the hallway when you enter from the parking garage. That's where I'm at. Becket's way over there by the main room. So I walked by Beckett like twice the entire time. Didn't really pay attention to it, but people came up to me and were like, "Dude, the line was insane." I was like, "Wow." Okay. That's honestly, I was a little surprised by that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? So, I mean, some of the things they said they might do are change the Beckett label, which I think is long overdue.
It's a brick. I don't like the brick.
Well, I don't know if they're going to change that, but the flip, I think they.
Well, that's definitely sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
That's definitely overdue. I can't tell you hundreds that the little metal looking label slips out of its holder, and it's like,
yeah.
And dude, like I actually reached out to them. I was like, "Hey, can y'all fix this?" They're like, "Yeah, sure. It's gonna cost X or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, it's y'all's bad. Like I didn't design it to fall out." But they were gonna charge me to fix that label issue. I was like, I mean, I like the card. I want to, okay, sure, and have it done. But anyway, so yeah, the label has been an issue for a long time. I'm glad they're fixing that. I'm a little surprised though. I didn't know what they were going to do, right? Like if you had to guess, Chris, would you, if you had predicted, would you predict that they were going to gut and heavily reduce / eliminate SGC and Beckett, or would you predict that they would build them up and have them grade maybe special, like a more of a niche of an area in the market.
No, I would definitely predict kind of what they've been doing, which is have PSA be the behemoth, and then these other two can shrink and just be tiny little companies that give the appearance of options to collectors. But I mean, I would have to assume PSA is far more profitable than either of the two companies on a, I don't know, on a per card basis. I would guess on a per card basis. So I would assume that's their cash cow, and that's where they're going to want to focus the most. But maybe there's been pushback from the community that, hey, you've sort of gutted SGC here. Turnaround times have gone from 10 days to 40 days. This is our favorite company. What are you doing? Maybe there's been a lot of that. I'm not sure, but I did find it interesting that they sort of announced that they're going to improve both. I hope they do. I hope they. I would rather come a little bit more like this than the gap even goes wider. With
may they take notes from Chick-fil-A, because they, no matter how long the line is, they rifle through it very quickly. May that be our turnaround times now.
I don't eat Chick-fil-A, but they have good turnaround time at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you never eaten Chick-fil-A?
No, but the turnaround time is good.
Absolutely, it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, we should get the Chick-fil-A managers and get PSA to hire them.
Right. Do you guys not have Chick-fil-A's in Baltimore?
We do. I mean, I'm sure I've had it. It's just
okay.
Been forever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think it would be the right move for sure, right? Like that they keep those companies, because there are certain people that just don't ever want to use PSA for a plethora of reasons, right? And that's fine. They should have other options for them to use. If they just axe them both, it's going to open the door for more companies to come in, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think axing them both makes much sense, but I do think it does make sense to me that they would just sort of have them on the side and not really focus on them. But
I think that Beckett could be select modern stuff. SGC could be vintage, primarily pre-war.
Yeah,
and PSA's everything, whatever.
Yeah, I've actually heard that from a few people, and that makes a lot of sense. Like, do you know a single person who prefers BVG for vintage cards to SGC or PSA?
No one. I don't know a single person that likes. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody that likes it better, and that's perfectly fine. I don't personally know anybody. No,
I don't think I've ever met someone who prefers BVG for vintage. And then for modern, do you know anybody who prefers SGC? I've heard people say they prefer SGC, but only because at one point it was cheaper and faster.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, from a pure like apples to apples comparison, I don't know anybody who prefers SGC.
The value just is not strong for SGC modern. No, I don't know anybody that likes that prefers SGC modern, ultra modern over Beckett or PSA. No, nobody.
Right, but the flip is true. Like, I do know people who prefer Beckett for modern.
Yes.
And I do know people who prefer SGC for vintage, right?
Absolutely, especially pre-war.
Especially pre-war, right? Exactly.
Pre-war.
Actually, I wonder if like pre-war SGC is almost on par with PSA pre-war in terms of number of people who prefer it. It might be kind of close.
I would say it's definitely the one that would be the closest. And I honestly, man, I would not be surprised if it was on par. Like, there's a ton of pre-war guys that just love SGC. They love the slabs. They love how it looks. I do too. Personally, I would rather have PSA, but I have SGC pre-war and vintage in my collection, so I'm a fan of that too. Yeah.
So let's go with this. Let's say eliminate value, and you were just picking the slab, just the look of the slab, and let's even eliminate like consistency. So you have a card, it's going to go into a slab, and you can have any of the slabs, the prices are all the same, and it's going to be the same grade. Which slab, just the slab and the look of the slab and the feel of the slab, do you prefer, if you prefer any? We'll throw CGC in there too.
Okay, the perfect marriage for me is if it was the tuxedo SGC, but as thick as or similar thickness as PSA slab. That would be the ultimate winner for me, dude. I would just really, if it had nothing to do with value and all that, that would 100% be the winner. That would be a hybrid of the two. That'd be awesome if they do that. But I would have to go SGC probably, because they just look awesome with the black slab. I love the way it looks, and it's protected way more. And correct me if you disagree. Maybe this could be our first disagreement on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that it's harder to tamper with an SGC slab than it is PSA.
Yeah, I think so. Although I guess I would. So I love your first answer. I loved it. SGC look, but in a PSA size.
Mhm.
I agree. Probably SGC is harder to tamper with, but to me, they're all fun. Like they're all hard enough where it doesn't bother me. The tamperability is that a word?
You have invented a new word, bro. So proud.
If it's not a word, let's contact the dictionaries and get it in there. Tamperability, I would say they're all good enough, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't. The problem for me is size. Like SGC, I can't stand how big it is, and then Beckett, I can't stand how thick it is. I love PSA. I love the thinness and the smallness of PSA, and actually CGC's there too. So if I had to pick, I would pick one of those two. But I actually love your answer because the SGC look is nice. It's just for me, it's too big.
Yeah, a PSA sized SGC slab would be my all-time fave. That'd be awesome.
Let's get PSA CEO on the horn and get this going here.
Do it.
Okay.
They do it.
Yeah.
But I do think they should be made more secure, 100%. The slabs, there's too many slabs out there where they, carefully take it off and, do fraudulent things with it and put it back together. Like, I think they definitely need to heavily invest in making those slabs more safe and secure. There's just tons of big fake cards out there that have the original label in there, so that is an issue that really I hope they address.
You might not remember this, but a long time ago, you and I were discussing a grading company. This was like building our own grading company. This was like ultra random idea. We didn't take any steps towards it, but it was just like a discussion. We were like, hey, what if we had our own grading company?
Remember one of the things we talked to? Go ahead.
We might be thinking the same thing. Your idea, which in principle is like interesting, but in reality is a terrible idea. But in principle, it's quite good. Is that the holder is actually like tamper proof to the point where if you crack it in any way, ink like spills all over the card and destroys it. So it's like was that what you were remembering?
That's what I was remembering, that it would go over something, whether it be the label or it was like just like a brainstorming session where it's like, what can we do to where if it's been tampered with, there's evidence that it has been, and that's it, and like, should we have ink come over the label, card, what should we do? Right. And go ahead. Yeah. But that's what I was going to say too. It's like,
no, yeah. The concept was like, once it's in the holder, you cannot take it out. But now, it's an interesting thought, but obviously that wouldn't fly, but it was just sort of an interesting thought and, would make for a good, Da Vinci Code movie.
It was a terrible idea, but in heart, the heart was there. Dude, the funny thing is, like, it stood out because it was that's just something you don't forget. Like, oh yeah, grading company, ink, yeah, it would help make it secure, but no, we definitely can't do that. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, the thought behind it was like, how do you make it? You cannot crack the slab. How do you do that? And we were just trying to think of ways to do that.
I know. Like, we were talking about hiring a company to tell us smart things about how to make a slab that could not be altered, or, hey, if somebody wants to crack it, fine, but they can't reuse it. You know what I mean? And they can't just go have a company in China make 1 billion of them and put them in there new, so like that's hard. I don't know what the answer is.
I remember it that the idea was once it's in a slab, you cannot get it out without ruining the card. So like
that was the original idea. That was
maybe we were expanding.
But you and I both know, like, I mean, if we were to look at a card and somebody wants to try to regrade it to get a better grade, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Crack it, send it back in. So clearly that wouldn't work. But the point is, and the nature behind that idea and our discussion was, how can we make it safe for the industry?
Yeah, right.
Where it can't be tampered with and reused or easily remade to use slabs and say that it was our slab, right? Like that was the whole point of the ink idea, which obviously isn't going to work. You know what I mean? So that was the point. Like, what can we figure out together? And then we were just like, yeah, no, let's not start a grading company. It's a it's a massive undertaking, and
I don't want to get yelled at by lots of angry customers.
Yeah, I mean, if you take 20, let's just say you take 20 experts who look at cards and can have a very good eye and are like, hey, this is a 5, this is a 9, this is a 10, vintage, modern, whatever. You're going to have cards where people say this is a 4, this is a 3, this is a 4, this is a 4.5, this is a 7, this is a 7.5 among experts like that all the time that are very trusted experts, so it's always up to subjection at some point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, why don't we transition into our debate of the day since again neither of us even know the topic, and right, and you don't did you look?
No.
Okay. We don't even know the topic. Theo set that up, and we don't know what side of the debate we're going to be having. So
sweet.
This might flop, amazingly. So if it does, our apologies. Let's get
Theo, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, man?
So we're gonna do a coin flip to see who goes first on the debate, and they could pick what side they want going first, right?
Whoever wins the coin flip can pick which side they want.
Well, yeah, because whoever goes first can pick their side, right?
I put it up on the screen now, right?
We can, but I want to bring up something real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. I have 2 embarrassing facts about both of you. What if whoever loses the debate, I read off the fact about the person that I feel loses?
That's fine. Okay, you're going to be the judge?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I like it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I have no idea what the embarrassing thing is.
All right, this will be good.
Theo, what are you doing? Okay, right. Wow.
This is a great way to get fired today. All right, go ahead. Let's bring it up. Bring up the question.
Okay. All right. Adding to stage. Has grading been a net positive for card collectors?
Oh my God! I better get the one I want.
Wow. That is a very deep question. Okay, Theo, who goes first?
Well, I'm going to flip the coin. Jeremy, I'll let you call it.
Heads.
It is tails.
Okay, sweet. So Chris gets real quick. So Chris and I used to do this, and we would flip for a card that we both wanted in a collection. Totally fair, right? That we bought together, and or something else, whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. And we're like, hey, great. What does that mean? I won. Does that mean I get this one, or did that mean I get this one? I can't remember because one was attached to like heads or tails or something. What was that about, Chris? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was when we were doing that game and we were just deciding who would go first, basically.
Oh, that's right. I thought it was about cards. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, anyway, so I lost the coin toss, so now what do we do here?
Chris will go first, so he can pick what side he wants going first.
Okay. So has grading been a net positive for card collectors? In the big picture, it absolutely has. There's some clear negatives to grading.
So you want me to take the negative?
Yeah. So in this debate, should I like go for a couple minutes and then Jeremy goes for a couple minutes, or should we do back and forth?
Yeah, I think you should both make opening statements about the side you're going to be on, and then kind of just have a back and forth about it, I would say.
Okay. All right. My opening statement is yes. In the big picture, grading has definitely been a net positive for the industry. While there are negatives, the positives far outweigh the negatives, in my opinion. If you went back to the days in the 1990s or whatever, when you were selling cards in person, there was way more fraud, and it was way easier for a dealer to get away with selling you a card that was in much lower condition than they were claiming, or selling you a fake card. Grading has eliminated a lot of that, and again, while there are negatives, those positives outweigh the negatives. Punk.
So Theo, you failed, man. I have to agree. It's been a net positive for the industry, and the negative.
I'll take the other side.
No. That's fine. No, that's fine. All right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I agree with that. It's definitely more of a positive than negative. Okay, I'm saying it's been more negative, and here's why. Right? Pretty much. things that are negative about it. It is susceptible to an opinion, right? So I've sent cards, you've sent cards, and I know for a fact it is not many sized, it's not altered, it's not trimmed in any way, and it comes back trimmed or many sized or whatever. And so you wait months to get that answer, which is incorrect. You send it back in, and then my Clemente rookie gets a 4, or my, whatever card gets a 2. It gets a number grade. So that is definitely a negative that I think people that go and send their cards there and then get many sized or, a really bad grade may be really kind of gun shy to buy raw cards because they never know if it's going to be okay or not, because they keep getting these mini size. That's happened many times for me where I get a mini size and it totally was not mini size. So that'd be a massive negative. But another negative would be the insane wait times is a massive negative. So I talked to a dealer at the Dallas Card Show, and he's like, yeah, so I submitted a bunch of Pokemon cards, and by the time I got them back, the value was half. Like what they were worth raw when I sent them in, it had to be a 10 to get that same value out. And now I wish I would have just sold them raw, so that's a massive negative for that. So yeah, turnaround time, huge negative. Let's call that good for now. So it's been a negative for collectors, is the negative side of that, right? And one other thing that's huge, and we've already kind of touched on this, but there have been many people who have been unfortunately have experienced fraud from a fake card being sold to them that was in a PSA holder. And there's actually a big court case that's going to be ending soon about a guy that the FBI busted, and they, were selling fake high-end slabs, and that's literally happening as we speak. So, prison time for these people, and rightfully so. But that's a huge negative. Like if you go to buy something that is from a trusted third party, it should be a trusted thing. And I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just, how can we help eliminate that? But yeah, so those are some of the negative things. Again, like is it should we not have had grading because of these things? No, of course. I mean, it's overall a much bigger positive that there's grading, but those would be the negatives. Sorry, I had to dip on that because that's the full truth. And there we go. That's
not understanding the assignment. You have to go all in.
I had to throw it
in. Boo! Can I say some debates for Jeremy here?
Yeah.
Do it.
All right. Grading takes away the purity of card collecting for a collector. So let's all think back to prior to grading. If you grew up in a time period that grading didn't exist, the focus was on the card itself and the player. It wasn't about the card having a 7 on it or the card having an 8 on it. And condition was a lot of times a second thought. Condition was all based on the collector looking at the card and going, wow, that looks like a great card. And grading brought in this whole new thing where the opinion of PSA or SGC is the be all end all. That's an 8. It doesn't matter that it looks like a 10. It doesn't matter that it's well centered. It doesn't matter that the corners look sharp. It's an 8. It's only worth an 8, right? And then the second part I want to talk about is the money grading takes out of the hobby, which is a debate you can go around in a circle with because some people disagree with it. But the side that I'm going to debate is if I spent $1,000 on SGC grading last year on cards that are going to stay in my collection, I could have spent $1,000 on another card for my collection versus spending that on grading costs. Now, like I said, the part of the debate that people come back with is, well, when you go to resell it, you're going to recoup those grading costs. But I'm not reselling. I'm a collector. I'm keeping the cards in my collection. I could have bought another big card and I didn't because I spent money on grading.
Theo. They're actually really, really good points.
Yeah, really good.
I need a second to counter that. But I'll counter it with this: is if you prefer your cards raw and you want to collect raw, you can still do that. Graded has not eliminated that aspect of the hobby in any way. Anyone is still free to do that. Grading is just an additional thing you can choose to do or not. and it's an additional way you can spend your money or not. If you have a card in your PC, it's raw, and you want to keep it there, and you want to spend that $1,000 on other stuff, you can and you should. But if you choose to instead spend it to get it graded, you can now choose to do that. And having more options as a hobbyist, I think, is good. Boom. All right.
It's a fair point. Jeremy, you know I'm gonna have to release the embarrassing thing about you now, right?
What is it?
I can't wait to hear it. What is it?
Jeremy, great guys. If I'm not with the company anymore, you know what happened, okay?
Let me just say, in Jeremy's defense of this, I got winning that coin flip made the debate quite easy for him.
Well, okay. Jeremy gets mani pedis on the regular. That's the embarrassing fact about Jeremy.
Hey man, only a true man with the strongest of strong man cards can get a mani pedi.
I don't think I knew that, by the way. But I got no disrespect for that.
Yeah, you could fact check, no problem. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Strong man card, man.
So I'm kind of curious what my embarrassing one was, or should we save that for when I lose the debate in episode 34, when I lose our first debate?
I mean, I've got several embarrassing things I just share all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'd say let's save it.
Let's save it. All right, fair enough.
As some type of punishment for you at some point, that would be fun.
Okay. All right, let's do what's our next segment? Let's do our next segment, which is the questions from the audience.
Questions of the day. Yes, let's get that up there. Hang on a second.
So, first of all, thank you everyone for leaving questions for us to go through. There were a lot of good ones, a ton of good ones. Theo picked out 3 that we didn't we didn't respond to in the comments, but we thought would be good topics for the podcast here.
Okay, right. So fun podcast. Thank you. This is from Simon 466 Cards. Can you tell us the Chris Snowman partnership origin story? How did you guys meet and start doing deals? Well, Chris went on this website. It's like who to talk to know how to sell cards and to be smart in this industry. And then he found me. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, So is that incorrect? That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
No. So we met. The way we met is I posted, and Chris, interject at any time in here. But I posted a Craigslist ad. And at the time, I lived in Kingman, Arizona, Northwest Arizona, and you lived in Long Beach, LA area.
Irvine, California, which is Orange County near LA.
Yeah, Irvine. So it was about a 4-hour drive to him, 6-hour drive to me with traffic, depending on what time you leave. So I posted this ad on Craigslist, and it was like, hey, I had a bunch of, I believe it was 1953 Topps cards, and then I had some other miscellaneous vintage and modern, and just a plethora of different things. And so Chris reaches out to me, and he's like, hey, I'm interested. Can we hop on a phone call? Right. So we talk, and as we're talking, he's like, hey, so can I come look at it? And I'm like, well, I live 4 hours away. I'd be happy to meet you or whatever. I can drive it up. And then you were like, well, question, I'm interested, but if you live in Arizona, why would you post it in LA? Right. Remember that? So basically I was like, well, there's really not much around me in this area. So I posted it in Vegas and, LA and Phoenix and Flagstaff and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, so you end up coming down, didn't know each other from Adam, but we talked for good, I think a couple hours, maybe on the phone, or hour, maybe more. So you ended up driving down and you came to buy the deal. And there was, so at this time, this is fun, right? This is fun. At this time, Chris, you had been in the industry, but you had never really bought big deals before, right? Not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And I was brand new to the industry. I mean, I knew enough to look up cards and see what they're worth and inventive ways of finding them, but I was fresh to the industry, right? So I really didn't know what I was doing at all. And so anyway, so Chris comes by, he comes, takes a look, and he looks through the collection. Well, but I had a number in mind that I wanted, and I want to say the number that I would have been happy to get was something like $2,500, right, for this collection. And this was way back. This was like 2012 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Chris goes through it. He looks through it, and he's like, "Dude, you got some nice stuff in this row." And he's like telling me voluntarily about this row that I didn't think was good at all. And he's like, "Yeah, there's some good cards in there. I don't know if they were 90s inserts or what. Do you remember what was in there?"
I don't remember anything about. I remember the deal. I don't remember anything about what the cards were.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I know there was a good amount of vintage. There was 53 tops a lot, and then some other stuff. But anyway, so you're voluntarily telling me all these things, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And there was even a card I showed you, and you're like, "Yeah, that's actually worth more than you think." And I was like, "Wow, okay, well, I like that." So we ended up coming to a number, and I was like, "Chris, so what can you pay for it?" And you were like, I think you said like you started at like 3,500 or 4,000 or something. It was something that was north of what I was hoping to get, but I would have maybe taken less than that, So it was a very fair offer. And I'm like, well, man, that's awesome. I was like, dude, so it's worth more than I thought. And you're like, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, we ended up settling. I forget what you originally offered. I think you offered close to 5. And we settled at 5, and I was ecstatically pleased. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we agree at 5,000. Okay. And now you're going to the bank, but you're like, hey, so let me just chew on this for a while. I'd like to talk to my friend because this is the biggest deal I've ever bought, $5,000.
Yeah.
I'd really like to talk to my friend, see if he agrees I should buy it, see what he thinks, So I'm like, okay, so you take off, and your bank was like 3 minutes from my house, right down the street. So you're gone, and you're gone for a good 20-30 minutes at this point. And there was another person there when you were there too. He was also doing a deal with me, selling me stuff that I think I eventually sold you what he sold me too. But anyways, and he's like, dude, he's not coming back. It's been 20-30 minutes. He ain't coming back, bro. Tell it to me instead. And I was like, I can't do that until, I told him, well, I can't do that. We agreed to a deal. I'm sure he'll be back. I really like this guy. I think he'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, and I had called you, and you eventually I think it was right at about a half hour, you texted me back, and you're like, hey, sorry for delay. I've really been, processing this. I'll be there in like 15 minutes. So 15 minutes roll by. It's about 45 minutes later total. You come back, and you're like, here you go. You had the $5,000 in hand. You shake my hand, and the relationship started in that moment, really,
Yeah, that's right.
But here's going a little further in that. What I immediately loved and respected about Chris was his honesty, where he didn't have to be honest, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you and I do not lie about things ever. We are not dishonest to get a deal or gain a buck. We just don't do that. But you were honest. You were forthcoming in sharing with me that it was more valuable than I thought it was. You know what I mean? So the value you paid me was more than I would have been happy with. And you shared that voluntarily with me to the point that I was like, I walked away from that deal thinking, I was like, I can really trust this guy. I like this guy, and I can trust him. He was forthcoming with me. I'm calling Chris next time. So I did. And maybe a month later, I had another nice deal. Remember the John Elway epic rare 90s insert awesome deal that I had, right? So this deal, same thing. Him and his friend came. We met in Barstow this time, about halfway. And I remember I had stickers on there. And one of them was, I forget what it was. It was some kind of really rare, Planet Metal John Elway. And I had $5 on the price tag. You guys looked at that, and you're like, dude, you're missing a 0 and then double it. This is like $100 card. I'm like, what?
I don't remember.
Huh?
I don't remember the details of the John Elway deal, but yeah. I was with Tim. Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally, you were like, add a 0 and then double it. This is $100 card. I forget what you said you'd pay me for it, but it was certainly much more than 5. And I was like, fantastic. Didn't haggle or anything. I was like, right on. So the point is, so we do deal 2. Again, I get more than I was thinking. And then the third time I came down, maybe we share the third one for another time, or should I share the third one?
No, yeah. The third one, right. The third one is where we decided to start partnering up.
Yeah, we should share the third one. Okay, so the third.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the third deal is a much bigger deal. There's like 9 Jordan autos. There's some nice Kobe stuff. There's some nice. There's Brady rookie autos. There's some nice things in this one, right? This is a much nicer. I mean, there was nice stuff in the other stuff too. Keep in mind, this is back in 2012.
2012, yeah, but the Jordan autos were like a few $100s each.
$300, I think.
Yeah.
They were like $300 a piece ish, and obviously much more now. But anyways, so for a deal to add up to the value of he would pay $5,000 was pretty valuable, but this one was even more. So this deal, we meet again at my house, and the deal's going great. It's going well as always. We're just talking. By this point, we have talked for many hours on the phone, and so as he's going through it, do you remember what you said?
I don't know what you're referring to. I mean, I remember the 20,000 comment rookies.
Oh God, yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's funny. So you said, dude, you find so many deals. I really like working with you. You're a nice guy. You find so much stuff. I know how to sell it. I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing. Why don't we partner up? And I was like, okay. So we partnered up. And so the rest is history. But the funniest thing about that, when you said let's partner up, and you're right after that, you said, hey, I refuse to do a 5-figure deal with you. We're going to partner after this deal. And I want to say that we never did a 5-figure deal together. I will not pay you a penny more than $9,900. And I wanted like 11, I think, or something,
Yeah.
And by this time I had learned a lot. I was a very quick study. I learned a lot about pricing and how I didn't price things right the other 2 deals. And you helped show me a lot of that stuff. But anyways, so I was really wanting 11, and I was like, all right, 10,000 on the dot, and you got it. You're like, no, bro, we're not doing a 5-figure deal. Never, no. It's like, I will walk away if it's even a cent at 10,000 or more, So I was like, okay, all right, that important. You were obviously joking, but it was just hilarious. We were laughing and fun during the whole time. So I think we settled at 9,900. I think is where we settled. Yeah. And to date, every now and then, Chris will throw me a few bucks and say, "Hey, man, remember that deal? Here's $10." So it's like 9,910 now. It's at $9,990 now. So I'm just waiting for him to give me $9.99, and then the deal's done. And this
not gonna happen. Sorry, man. Not gonna happen.
Oh, it's hilarious. So anyway, so that is how the Texas Snowman Chris Sewall relationship, partnership, friendship begun. Was just 2 guys that really love cards, and the expert and the guy that knew that had a knack for finding deals but didn't really know what he was doing, partnering up, and a wild ride to where it's at today, present, and just a fun trip along the way. So yeah, that's how we met and the whole story. What's you have any nuggets to throw in there about?
Yeah, well, there's lots of good nuggets from them, but yeah. So on the first deal, when I was going to the bank, I was never intending to not come back. I wanted to call my friend Tim and get his advice, and he couldn't answer for whatever, so I was just trying over and over. That's why it took so long. Mm-hmm. But if I had decided not to buy it,
you would have let me know.
I sort of come back and told you.
100%.
The
guy was like, he's not coming back.
No, yeah, that was never. The second deal, I don't remember. I remember the John Elway deal, and Tim actually came to that one too.
Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember what it was, but you had a card from the 90s out of 5, serial numbered out of 5.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
And we could not figure out what it was worth. And I think Tim ended up with that one, so I don't remember what happened with it. But you don't see that ever, like a 90s card out of 5. Today, a 90s John Elway out of 5, that would be a lot. And then on the third deal, I'll tell the 28,000. So Jeremy had come a long way through 3 deals. Yeah, he knew absolutely nothing on deal 1. He knew a little bit on deal 2, and he knew more on deal 3. But on deal 3, there was one thing he did not know, which was bulk commons are worthless. But so this probably was 2012, and he had 20,000 rookies, football rookies, like base football rookies.
Yep.
I want to say 2006 to 2011. And it was none of the big names, but they were all rookie base cards from like the most boring brands, Score and Tops, and
there was a ton of them that were like late 80s, early 90s too.
Oh, okay. I remember them all being 2006 to 2011, but maybe they went back. But they're all rookies.
Big hodgepodge, yeah.
20,000 of them. Like the best name would be like Joe Flacco, maybe, something like that. But 95% of them were complete no names, and then 5% would be like a Joe Flacco level, which is maybe a 25-cent card on a Joe Flacco rookie base card. So Jeremy was like, well, there's 20,000 rookies here. I'm just looking for 25 cents a piece. That's $5,000. And I was like, no, this is a zero. And that was the one area of contention on our first 3 deals at all. But
yeah, and define contention. So
minimal, very minimal contention.
So the contention there was, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Right? So I was shocked that they were worth nothing. And I don't know if you remember, but that part, and there was some other good stuff he had too, but there was like a 2-deal thing there. That was actually my friend Shane's stuff.
Okay.
The dead rookies, and then I had all my stuff. But regardless whose it was, me or Shane's, it was a part of this deal that we were doing, because I think we did a separate deal for his stuff, and then mine was 9,900, right?
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
But regardless, it doesn't change the story. I thought we could get a quarter a piece for them, regardless. It doesn't work. Yeah. But so I was just like, so when you told me that, I was like, wow, really, nothing, zero, and the crazy thing is, like, this is only the 3rd time that I had met you.
Yeah.
But I knew that you were telling me the truth, and it was shocking what you were telling me, but I just believed you.
I think you believed it, but you believed me, but you it was hard to swallow, or
it was hard to grasp. Yeah. So that was like the quote unquote contention, was that I was in such disbelief and shock.
Yeah.
Like, that, wow, 22,000, these are all rookie cards. Maybe, right. He was chief bench warmer, but it's still a rookie, 20,000 of them, surely they're worth a couple cents a piece or something, but so I was just so shocked. But we had developed such a close rapport by that time, because we talked so much on the phone. We had done 2 previous deals together. Both times you paid me more than I thought it was worth, because I didn't know what I was doing, so all these things, you totally could have taken advantage of me. You did not take advantage of me, so I trusted you. And in hindsight, it was worth basically $20 a monster box. Now, back then, probably nothing. Back then, but I was so wildly just blown away that those cards were worth absolutely nothing. I couldn't believe it, but I did. Even though it was hard for me to fathom, I believed you, because of the trust and the rapport that we had developed. And so that kind of set the scene for, you saw that I could be reasoned with. I obviously knew that I could trust you. And you're like, you get so much stuff. Let's just be partners. I've never had a partner before. I just started. I obviously never had a partner before. Let's just partner up. And it was like instant yes, and never looked back. It was just awesome and fun, So
yeah. So exactly. So moving forward from there, just whenever Jeremy would get in a deal, we would partner together, and I ultimately would we would work together, and I would sell it, and we would sort of just split everything nicely. And there's never really been any issues. It's been a very, very smooth partnership for coming up on like 15 years now. So
extremely smooth. Yeah. So Chris and I do what's called reverse auction each other all the time, right? Like, part of having a good partner is, it's not just that they know what they're doing. It's, do you guys click well? Do you get along well? Can you intimately trust them with many things? And are they going to be greedy when the time comes to divvy up things, or make selections that are borderline or gray? All these things come into play, right? Are they on a similar integrity level, how they operate their daily lives? I would not want to be a bad representation of Chris, or vice versa, if I was going to treat somebody very rudely and poorly, and like they weren't important, or vice versa. Chris do that and looks bad on me. So it's important that we both treat people with utmost fairness and respect and integrity, And all those things come into play, right? That really need to be there to make a solid long-term partnership. And I mean, all those boxes were just kind of auto checked. You know, it was very, very smooth. And if we ever did have a disagreement, I mean, certainly in any partnership, you're going to have something that you have to find out what the answer is going to be. But the vast amount of the time, when we were going to divvy up stuff, it was like, no, man, that's not fair. You need more. Or Chris would be like, no, you need more on this one. That's not fair. Like, you know, so it was always like the reverse. We was never like, let me take more. It was like, let's be more fair to you. And if you're always that way with each other, you're never going to have any problems ever with that. You're just not. Yeah.
No, it's been very, very smooth.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
All right, we've sort of gone over time here. Should we save the other two questions for the next one? And also, we were going to go over some of the CIA stuff. Do you want to save that for next time? Because CIA is obviously not running an auction for another month.
Let's just take a sneak peek at least here.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a long question. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more. Yeah, that cool? Okay. How do you go about determining value of a complete vintage set? Seems difficult to assign a value, especially when condition of each card can vary greatly. Yeah, a lot of avenues to talk about that. You want to take this one?
Yeah, this would take a long time to answer properly because it depends on a lot of factors, and I would have to know a lot more about the factors. Are you talking about a low grade set? Are you talking about a mid grade set? Are you talking about a high grade set? Is it talking about the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 30s? These would all have different answers. So it's hard to sort of give a blanket statement. If you're talking, I'll just say, like, say you have like a mid grade 60s set. There's going to be comps on that. So, you know, if in very simplest terms, I would try to go through the set and establish what the average grade is, and find comparable sets online that have very similar grades across the board. And I would make a note of any of the key cards if they're either really higher or really lower condition. That might sway things. So if you have an entire 68 set that's EX, but the mantle is like perfect, well, you're gonna have to factor that in and bump up the price from comps. But if you have a 68 set that's EX, but the mantle's got creases in it, well, you're gonna factor that in on the downside. So that would sort of be the very short answer to that.
Yeah, very short, because there's so many ways to go with that, right? Also, like if the condition range varies heavily, oftentimes, depending on the set, you may not want to sell that as a set, because the low grade may drag down the high grade that's in that set. You really want to break that up. But if it's a 1979 set, just leave it as a set. The value isn't worth the time it takes to extract the extra out of it. You know what I mean? So there's so many variables to that. Absolutely. Is there grading? All kinds of stuff. Let's check out the next one here. Okay, here we go. Since you both have a lot of experience in the hobby, do you think there's been a bigger percentage increase in the number of dealers versus collectors over the last 3? And if so, is that impacting card prices? Along those lines, what % of cards you think are owned by dealers as inventory versus owned as collectors? Let's say just cards from 1980s to presents, and those worth more than 50. I mean, no idea how many are owned by collectors versus dealers. I don't think there really is any way to know that, right? Interesting question, by the way.
It's a really thought-provoking question. Marcus Y5U. I don't know. Would be my answer.
Yeah, no idea.
I would sort of say it depends on what you define as a dealer. Like, as a flipper, like a person who's like roaming a show, buying cards, looking to sell it for more. Is that a dealer, or is a dealer the guy who's set up at the show?
Yeah.
I think there's more flippers than there were 3 years ago. Or 5 years ago, but I don't know that I would say there's more like full-time dealers. I think that's probably about the same. Would you agree with that?
I do.
I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more part-time side hustle guys than there was before. But full-time dealers, I'd say it's pretty similar. So I would say, to answer your question, I would say it's similar, unless you want to count those side hustle guys as dealers. Then there's a lot more in the hands of dealers now.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Yeah, that's when I read that, I remember reading that and I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I have no idea. By
Yeah.
the way, I forgot Cubed Hot Dog and Simon 466. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
for those
thanks for the questions.
too.
And yeah, if
Really
you want to leave a question for the next for the episode 3, you can leave it in the comments of this one, and we'll have Theo comb through the good ones.
Yep. Yes, sir. So thank you guys. Really appreciate you watching. And again, any questions you have, leave them in the comments. Love to see them and help answer some of those. Apologies in advance if we can't get to them all. We will do our very best. And Chris, that was fun. That was fun telling our story, right?
Yeah, that was very fun. That was very fun.
That was very cool.
Yeah, but
Fond memories.
Fond memories. Yeah, that was a long time ago, back when I was a young man.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, it's just so crazy to think all the things we've been through together, right? Like
quite a lot.
So
yeah,
many things.
we got a lot more stories to share on upcoming podcasts, but
so many more. Many more.
But yeah,
all right, but go ahead.
Thank you for. I was just gonna say thanks for watching Collector Investor Podcast with Sewall and Snowman. In that order,
guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this episode. What the hell?
We don't have all day, Jeremy. Come on. Let's
I know. I'm working up the greatness inside of me. It's coming. Such impatience. Gosh, for those of you who know Theo, give him a hard time for me. Please. Thank you. Thank you for watching this episode of Collector Investor Podcast. Texas Snowman and Chris Sewall in that order. Feel free to check out the description below to see how to reach out to us directly and our other social media platforms and the auction house. See you next time.